Gargacharya, Ashtotar Satya Shishimad Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada Thakur Ki Jai, Shri Guru Parampara Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gauritai Ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavad-gita Darshan Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Amaganat Nirandhyasya Gananagana Salakaya Chaksudan Militam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manu Vishtam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupakara Madhyam Darati Svarantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shrita Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrashitam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parishana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nirvashesha Shunyavani Parshachari Satarani Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Nityanamane Shri Varshabhani Devi Dayataya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambhana Vigyana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhura Jvala Prema Dashi Rupanoga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarane Rupanoga Virudha Pasiranta Tvantaharane Namo Gaura Kishoraya Shakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipalambara Sambode Padam Bujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchitananda Namane Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanoga Varayate Gaura Vibhava Bhumeshvam Nirdeshta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannataya Te Namaha Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Japatitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahaparanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Vishnu Namaha Panchadakamakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Surupakam Bhakti-avatara Bhakti-akyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kandarara Kantanamostute Jayatam Suratur Pangor Mama Mandir Matergati Matsa Vashapadambo Joshi Radhavadana Mohano Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpadruma Dasimantrnagara Sinhasanasto Shri Radha Srila Govindevo Prashtadavi Sevyamanam Smarami Shriman Rasarasaram Vivam Shiva Tatatastita Ashanvena Svanaya Rupopi Rupopinata Shriyetunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya Namaste Jase Aviravir Bhav Vajranaka Vajransta Karmasayan Randaya Tamo Grasa Om Svaha Obhayam Atmani Bhuishtam Ksham Adyeshtate Chaya Imam Dharmam Sambharimavyo Jnana Yajnena Tenaham Isti Samiti Memati. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita that those who study this sacred conversation between he and his devotee Arjuna worship the Supreme Lord with their intelligence. This evening we are reading from the 6th chapter, Jnana Yoga, texts 11 and 12. Please repeat. Stuchao deshe pratishtapya Stiram asanamatmana. Nati uchitam nati nicham. Jailajina kushotaram. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deerskin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. Purport. Sacred place refers to places of pilgrimage. In India, the yogis, the transcendentalists, or the devotees all leave home and reside in sacred places such as Prayag, Mathura, Vrindavan, Rishikesh, and Heidelberg, and in solitude practice yoga where the sacred rivers like the Jamuna and the Ganges flow. But often this is not possible, especially for Westerners. The so-called yoga societies in big cities may be successful in earning material benefit, but they are not at all suitable for the actual practice of yoga. One who is not self-controlled and whose mind is not undisturbed cannot practice meditation. Therefore, in the Brihad Naradiya Purana, it is said that in Kali Yuga, the present yuga or age, when people in general are short-lived, slow in spiritual realization, and always disturbed by various anxieties, the best means of spiritual realization is chanting the holy names of the Lord. Harinam, Harinam, Harinam eva kevalam, kalau nashti ave, gatir anyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. Suchal deshe pratishtapya shtiram asanam atmana nati uchitam nati nicham chailajina kushotaram taitrakagram nakritva yatachitendriya kriya upavishyasane yunda yogam atmana vishuddhaye. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deerskin cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. Mukam karoti vachalam pandam lanayate gremyam pripatande Sri Guru Dinatarinam. So in recent years, we have been seeing in the Western world the swing of the pendulum of modern mentality. It's swinging to Tyaga. Tyaga means renunciation. Since the late 1960s, so for about the last 20 years, everybody's mind has been absorbed in bhoga, excessive sense enjoyment. So in the last 20 years, we have seen many new lows of degradation. Normally we say the expression is new heights, but it's been new lows. So it seems that more and more people, as we roll into the 1990s, more and more people have become frustrated with this very degraded form of life, and almost spontaneously they're giving up. This is becoming more and more noted. I recently was reading some statistics. These statistics were taken from the United States, but I think they also pertain to Western Europe. Now, very few people comparatively are smoking, and the number of people drinking is going down very much. And drug taking, although previously it was soaring, that's also gone down very, very low. And even illicit sex, which is the favorite hobby, even people are turning away from that because they find it so frustrating and so fraught with danger. So many new diseases are there waiting for those who indulge in excessive sex life. So, and simultaneously with this rise of tyaga, or renunciation, we see there is a rush to spirituality, or shall we say so-called spirituality. This is the new age, they say, and there are many new groups which are teaching different forms of meditation or yoga or some philosophy, some process. Of course, all of this is impersonal and speculative. So, from the Vaishnava point of view, from the point of view of Krishna's teachings on yoga in Bhagavad-gita, we cannot accept the spiritualism, modern spiritualism, as really being genuine. And even this tyaga, this renunciation, is also not really genuine. It is simply that people are frustrated. Now, in this frustration, they may find these instructions we've read just now in texts 11 and 12, they may find these instructions to be attractive. Krishna is speaking of practice of yoga, and one should go to a secluded place and lay kusa grass on the ground, covered with deerskin and a soft cloth. Seat should not be too high or too low. Should be in a sacred place. Yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses and activities, and fixing the mind on one point. And as Srila Prabhupada mentions here, there are so-called yoga societies in big cities, and they're becoming successful, and in later time they're becoming more and more successful. There's now coming out many newspapers and magazines on the yoga scene. There's one, I think it's called Hinduism Today, maybe, or Hindu Times. There's a few of them. But this is not coming from India. It's coming from America, and it's reporting on all the new meditation groups that all have something to do with India or Indian religiosity. All the gurus, all the swamis. It's a big newspaper, comes out every month. And there's so many temples being built in the Western world. This is all following the wake of ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada started the Krishna consciousness movement. Now there's all kinds of different yogis and swamis with big tilak going this way or this way, big dots here, big hairs, no hairs, big beards, big mustaches. And they're opening temples, some big temples being built in different places with a from normal material existence. Then there may be temporarily some release from suffering. But if you keep the mind in that condition, this unfocused, vague, spaced out condition, then actually that mind, which is now unengaged, becomes a breeding ground for much worse attachment, indeed perversion. There's the old saying, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So this is what they're doing. This is why we can say with great certainty that after some years the pendulum will swing back. You see, by spacing out their minds in this bogus meditation, they're simply making them clear fields for all kinds of new nonsense to grow up in. Because the heart is not being purified. Even if they were, Srimad Bhagavatam says, even if they were to very strictly follow the process of yoga in a bona fide way, but without coming to Krishna consciousness. This is the point. So they are to follow brahmacharya, tapasena, samena, dhamena. This is described, these different strict celibacy, tapasya, austerity, samena, dhamena, control of mind and senses, and all of that. Then what would they get? They would attain a kind of clearing of the consciousness, not just this unfocusing, you see. Just like if you make this camera unfocused enough, it may look like there's nothing on the screen, but you know that there's something really on the screen. You just have to focus it back, and there you see the image. But liberation, or freeing the mind of illusion, really means to clear that image away. So they may succeed in doing that. But Venu Gulmam Ivanala, it is compared to the burning down of a bamboo forest. There's a bamboo forest and you light it on fire, and the fire will rage, and it will surely burn away all of the bamboo sticks, without a doubt. But what will happen after some time? The bamboo will grow back because the roots are still there in the ground. So when the heart remains dirty, in other words, when the anartha bijas, the seeds of sinful desire are locked firmly in the heart, are not being uprooted by the process of yoga, meditation, and so on, then even though that you may be successful in clearing the mind, what to speak of just unfocusing it, but clearing the mind, nonetheless, after some time, all sorts of new dirty things will grow up. And because this is Kali Yuga, each time it grows back, it's worse than before. This is the age of steady degradation. So, as I said, so many bogus yoga groups are there, and already so many scandals coming out. There was very recently a big scandal in the United States. The largest Tibetan Buddhist organization. Now, Tibetan Buddhism is a kind of Buddhism which uses yoga. They're very much into yoga. Of course, it is not yoga according to Bhagavad-gita. But they practice yoga. And they make so many claims about attaining liberation. But the leader of the biggest Tibetan Buddhist society in the United States, he was forced to quit. He was the guru, or they call Lama, from Tibet. And he was forced to quit because the members of the organization, they discovered that for years he'd been practicing homosexuality with some of his students, and he contracted AIDS, and he knew it, and he kept on doing this, and he was spreading AIDS through the whole organization. Everyone was getting AIDS and wondering why. Because the guru had AIDS and he was spreading it. So this is very perverted. And this is to be expected when the mind, is just unfocused, not given any engagement, and just allowed to simmer and bubble and boil. And all the dirty things come back, even worse than before. So to practice yoga requires a firm, steady mind. Sthita pragya. Sri Krishna uses this term in the second chapter of Bhagavad-gita. Sthita means steady, and pragya refers to the mind. So this firm, steady mind is arrived at prajahati yada kaman sarvapartha monogatam. One has to become practiced, become expert in pulling the mind away from thoughts of sense gratification. In other words, the mind has to become trained in this. It has to become the mind's nature. That wherever there is sense gratification, the mind recoils from it. This is what is meant by firm, strong mind. And then, Atmani evatmana tushta shtita pragyashta ruchate. And when the mind takes shelter in the Atman. Atman means self, but like the Upanishad state, Anor Aniyan Mahato Mahayam Atmasya Janto Nihito Guhayam. That this term Atman refers to the Anu, Atma. It means the tiny spirit soul, the Jiva, and also the Maha Atma, Parama, super soul. So they dwell together in the heart. That's the complete meaning of Atman. So, Atmani Evatmana Tushta. So the mind has to take shelter in this Atma, or in this relationship between soul and super soul, and derive pleasure from that relationship. So Krishna here is referring to bhakti. He's referring to bhakti yoga, without a doubt. The yoga of relationship with the Supreme through devotional service. So when this state is attained by the mind, then Shtita Pragyastalochite, that is called having a firm, steady mind. Such a mind can practice yoga very nicely. But when the mind is broken, the mind is also an anga, or a limb. It's like in the gross physical body, we have these limbs, arms and legs and head and so on. So the mind is a limb. It's a limb of the subtle living, the subtle body or subtle entity. That a subtle body is made of chitta, which is a material element, the finest material element. And it has three features, or there's three limbs to this body of chitta, and that is mind, intelligence, and false ego. So these are differences of function. So the mind is a limb of the subtle body. And when one is addicted to sense gratification, then it's like the limb is broken. The mind is broken. It's like if you break your arm. What can you do with it? You can't accomplish anything with it. So if the mind is also broken, weak, then one should not try to practice yoga. Not this kind of yoga Shri Krishna is speaking about. It's like if your arm is broken, don't do work with it, please. You see, if the arm is broken, it's bending this way instead of like this way, it's going that way, and then you work with it, it's just going to make it worse. It will never heal. So one has to put the arm in a cast, this thing of gips, so the arm will heal properly. Don't take it off until it's properly healed. So similarly, for the conditioned souls who are very lusty and attached to sense gratification, the Vedas prescribe varnashram dharma. This is like the caste for the broken limb of the mind. You accept the position in varna and ashram and do one's work out of duty. And this duty, which is dictated in the Dharma Shastras, this applies to every type of work, all activities. The occupation one is doing, and also at home, everything. So all of this comes under regulation. And as we learn to work under regulation and follow principles more and more, then this is the healing of the mind. The mind is becoming strong, more fixed. And when the mind is completely healed, then it can practice yoga. But this business of unfocusing the mind, the mind is in the midst of sense gratification, and then just becomes so frustrated that you unfocus it. That's like You know, the limb is broken. It's been put in gips, but then you just cut it off, take the gips off, and start dancing around with a broken arm. So you just make everything worse, make everything more distressing and perverted. If the bone again grows together, you see, like that, after it's been broken, then the arm becomes perverted. It's twisting in some strange direction. So all of this, these different prescriptions in the Vedic scriptures, that one should follow varnashram dharma and become nicely fixed in duty, and only then can one renounce. But renunciation is not just like, you know, blasting into outer space, floating around in the void. Renunciation actually means giving up sense gratification and accepting devotional service. So all of this, these are all aspects of bhakti yoga. All the different yoga systems. For instance, the varnashram dharma stage, that's karma yoga. That's the phase of yoga where we engage the activities of this body gradually more and more in Krishna service. And then there's jnana yoga. So that's the yoga of the mind. That's when we learn to discriminate between spirit and matter, or Maya and Krishna. And then there's dhyana yoga, the yoga of meditation. So that's when we fix the mind on Krishna. So there's no contradiction between these yoga systems when they all come under the umbrella of bhakti. These are all simply different methods of bhakti, different methods of becoming Krishna conscious. And it's a very ordered system. It's very logical. And it's all administered by the spiritual master. These are like the advices of a doctor. Spiritual master is compared to a doctor. So when he's curing the patient, then he gives advices to the patient. Now you're getting a little better, you should do like this. Just like if we have broken limbs, the doctor helps us. Now you can do such and such exercise. If your hand was broken, squeeze on a rubber ball, something like that. You're a little stronger, he says, do something else. And the main thing is the medicine. In the process of healing, doctor administers not only the advice of how the patient should live and what he should do at particular times, but the main thing is the medicine. So that we only find in the bhakti process. The other yoga systems, these are how to say, rehabilitation. These are exercises in rehabilitation. But bhakti gives the actual medicine which affects the cure. And if you take the yoga systems away from bhakti, the karma yoga, or the jnana yoga, or the mystic yoga, the meditation yoga, and you try to practice them independently, then you get no medicine. So that it's very difficult to become cured. So therefore, enechi aushadhi maya, nashi bharu lagi, hori nama mahamantra, lau tumi magi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I am the doctor. And I have come, enechi aushadhi, aushadhi means medicine. I have come to give you this medicine. Enechi aushadhi maya, for the disease called maya. Nashi bharu lagi. Hari Nama Mahamantra. This medicine is the Hari Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So really this is the most important thing. And as a matter of fact, if one simply chants Hare Krishna, simply takes the medicine and takes it in full faith, even though they're unable to perform the other rehabilitative processes, nice karma or dhyana, but he simply takes the medicine only, then he will be cured. He is a perfect yogi. Whereas one may do all these other things very perfectly, but if the medicine of bhakti is not there, if the guidance of bona fide spiritual master is not there, then he's going to become victimized in the end by Maya. That is for sure. And actually, the whole idea of taking the yoga process away from bhakti, this is actually demoniac. This is the conclusion. In Mahabharata, there's a story of two twin demon brothers named Sunda and Upasunda. So they were born into the family line of Hiranyakashipu. Later, their father's name was Nikumba. So they decided to become first-class yogis. So they did everything like Krishna says here in this verse. They went to a sacred place, the Vindhya Hills in South India. And they sat down as prescribed in the scriptures on deerskin, and they did everything. They fasted, and of course demons are actually better at austerities than anybody else. The demons have a taste for suffering. So when demons decide to perform austerities, they can do it very well. So they became very, very strict yogis, and they remained in meditation for a long, long time. And then the fire of their tapasya began to disturb the demigods, and the demigods all went to Lord Brahma and prayed to him, he must do something about these two. So then Lord Brahma went down, and Lord Brahma said, all right, you have really become masters of the yoga discipline, so I'm here to reward you. What do you want? And so the two demons, they answered, give us all mystic powers. So Lord Brahma said, yes, you may take that, but you still have even more tapasya, more credits of your tapasya, so you could ask for something else. And then they said, give us mastery over all weapons, the knowledge of how to use all the weapons in the universe. Now you know, the demigods, they have very special weapons, and they keep, just like the United States or Soviet Union, they have their special weapons, right? They keep them secret. They don't want anyone to know. Like the United States, they have a new bomber, a new airplane, which cannot be seen by radar, or at least so they say. And it looks like a flying pancake. So they keep them very hidden. And they have some down in the Gulf, and they say if any of these planes crash while flying, then we will immediately send other planes over it where it has crashed to drop bombs and blow it to dust so that no one will be able to examine it. So the demigods, they have, of course, much superior weapons to flying pancakes. And they keep these secrets of these weapons guarded very carefully. So these two demons, they wanted all that knowledge. So Lord Brahma said, all right, and he blessed them again. And you still even have more that you can get, so what do you want? And then they said, we want the power to change our shape at will. And Lord Brahma said, all right, any shape you like, you can take. But you still have more. So then they said, they looked at each other and they went, and they said, make us immortal! And Lord Brahma said, I'm sorry, I cannot give you that. But you can ask for something else. And then they whispered to each other, because they were twin brothers, and they were always together. They did everything together. They ate off the same plate, they slept in the same bed. Everything they did together. They were the best of companions. So they whispered in each other's ears and made a little plan, and then they said, all right, so you bless us that we cannot be killed by anyone in the whole universe except each other. Because they were thinking that we are such good brothers, we love each other so much that we'll never there'll never be any fight between us. So if we ask for this benediction, that only we can be killed if we're killed by our other brother, then we'll never be killed. That's as good as being immortal. So Lord Brahma said, yes, you can have that benediction. So then, after they got these benedictions, they became most ecstatic, and they went down to the Asura Loka, and they called all the demons together, and they said, let's have a big party. So they had a big celebration to celebrate their getting these boons from Brahma. And, just like on New Year's Eve, in the houses in the neighborhood, there's big parties, and, actually I know what happens here in Heidelberg. I've been here a few New Year's nights, and it's like World War III. For 2 hours, they're exploding bombs, and the whole city stinks of gunpowder. And everybody's on the street falling on their face. So, like that, whenever there's a big party, there's a lot of noise. So this noise from the Asura Loka, it was emanating through the whole universe. And the demigods, just like when somebody who doesn't party wants to sleep at night, then he has to hear from the neighbor's house loud music and screaming and shouting. So the demigods were hearing from the Asura Loka these shouts of, give me more drink, hey, eat more, oh, more music, louder, louder, oh, I want to dance also. So this party was going on for a long, long time. And then when they exhausted themselves by partying, then Sunda and Upasunda, they announced, all right, demons, now let's get together a great army and let's march on the devas and kick them out. So the demons got very enthusiastic. Oh, finally we have some real good leaders here. These two brothers, they're victorious on all fronts. Who can defeat them? Look at the boons they got from Brahma. Let's go. So then they marched. They entered the heavenly planet, and the demigods, they tried to resist, but it was not possible. So all the demigods had to fly to the Brahma Loka. And there they were hiding with Lord Brahma. And so Sunda and Upasunda, they took over Indra's palace, and they were enjoying everything there for a while. And then they thought, when they began to talk among themselves, but we have to make sure that demigods can never come back. So that means we have to go to earth, and we have to kill all the Brahmins, and all the sages, and all the saintly persons, because they worship the demigods and make them strong. So then they went to the earth planet, these two brothers, and first in their form as demons, they ranged across the whole surface of the earth, and every Brahmin they saw, they killed. Now, of course, many of the Brahmins, they retired into hills, into caves, hid themselves. And then when the demons had gone over the earth, they stopped, and then these Brahmins who had spared themselves, they came out, they started performing their yajnas, chanting the mantras. So then the two brothers took the form of elephants, and then they ranged across the earth in those forms, and they killed every Brahmin they could see. Because the Brahmins weren't prepared for elephants. They thought just these two big demons. But now there were elephants coming. So they took many Brahmins by surprise. And then the third time, they came as tigers. And they came again and again as big asses and all different kinds of forms, again and again. And each time they were killing many, many Brahmins. And so the number of Brahmins on the earth was dwindling to almost nothing. And the demigods became very afraid. They said to Lord Brahma, Lord Brahma, if all the Brahmins on the earth become wiped out, exterminated, then this whole universe will become a dark, sinful, demoniac place. And we'll never regain our power. So Lord Brahma, please do something. And Lord Brahma said, don't worry. I've had a plan all along. So then Lord Brahma, he called from all over the universe. He called all the beauty of all beautiful things. Whatever is beautiful anywhere. He summoned that beauty. And it came into his planet like a rain of jewels. Very beautiful, crystalline jewels of beauty. They all came into Lord Brahma's planet. And they were floating in space, and all the demigods were just They were just dumbfounded. It looked so wonderful. And the essence of beauty itself. And then Brahma told Vishvakarma, who was the architect of the demigod, he said, now you take all these beautiful jewels and you bring them together and you fashion them into the most beautiful female form. So then Vishvakarma did that. And Lord Brahma told all the demigods, now close your eyes. You shouldn't see this. So the demigods, they closed their eyes. And Vishvakarma finished. And this woman named Tilotama, she appeared out of his work. So Tilotama means the ultimate in beautiful things. And Tilotama was actually, she was the most saintly person. She was a saintly person. She was not what you consider like a lusty Maya deity or anything like that. She was completely saintly, completely submissive, accepting Lord Brahma as her father, and simply wanted to do whatever he said. She had no interest in material life at all. But she was, beautiful beyond anyone's imagination. So the demigods, now this, I must say, this happened in another Manvantar. The demigods change every Manvantar and in every period of Manu. And in each of these periods of Manu, the demigods have their different pastimes, different activities. And they differ from one age of Manu to another. The pastimes are a bit different. So in this Manvantar, Lord Indra, King Indra, he got his 1,000 eyes in a different way than what we normally hear, that he was cursed by a sage. In this age, or in that Manvantar, when he was there on the Brahmaloka, and Lord Brahma told him and all the other demigods to close their eyes. So he was sitting with his eyes closed. And then Tilotama walked in front of him to go offer her obeisances to Lord Brahma. And when she came in front of him, then 1,000 eyes opened all over his body to look at her, because he couldn't help it. So in this way he saw her beauty. So then she offered her obeisances to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma then said, I have something for you to do. And she said, what is it? And he said, just go to the earth and pick some flowers. And when you've picked the flowers, you can come back. So she said, all right. So she went down to the earth planet, and she was picking flowers. And the two demons, they saw her. So then they immediately rushed, one on either side, and each took a hand. And then in opposite directions, they started to pull her. Come with me! And the other one, come with me! And then they noticed that because the other brother was pulling, she wasn't going anywhere. So then the two brothers, who were so united in everything, they looked at each other with hot, angry eyes, and they said, let go of her! She's my wife and she's your guru! They both said this simultaneously. and of course they didn't let go, and then they began to abuse each other, call each other bad names, and then finally they fought and they killed each other. And then Tilotama, she just finished picking her flowers and came back to Lord Brahma. Then Lord Brahma said, what do you want, Tilotama? You've done so nicely. And she thought all I did was pick flowers. And so I will award you with any benediction you like. And she said, just let me stay here in Brahmaloka and serve you. He said, all right. So this story then from Mahabharata nicely illustrates that no matter how powerful and how successful one may become by practice of yoga, if the yoga practice is not for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, but is rather for any other aim, any other end, then it is perverted. So-called yogi will become smashed by the influence of the material energy. So we can stop here. Are there any questions?
In one book in Leben von Leben, Srila Prabhupada described that we should pray, that we should glorify Srimati Radharani, like the Goswamis of Vrindavan do it. They always calling, where's Radharani, where's Lalita, and in which way we practice this.
And Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare is referring to the spiritual energy of the Lord, who was ultimately personified as Srimati Radharani. So Hare is another way of saying Radha. So every day we're calling Radharani's name, asking her to be present, asking for her help, because only under her protection can we be successful in pleasing Krishna. Because actually there's only one person who knows how to please Krishna, and that's Radharani. And all the other devotees, every other Vaishnava, is serving Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. So we just want to come in that line somewhere. Doesn't matter even if it's at the very end. If we're in that chain of devotees who are serving the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, then we're pleasing Krishna. So this is why we address Radha first. Hare. Just like when there's these companies with they have multiple names, you know, like what is it? Daimler-Benz, I think, isn't it? This is one company. Daimler-Benz. So these are two names. Someone was named Daimler, and there's another guy named Benz. They got together and formed a company. So somehow or other Daimler comes first, so he must be the most important one. Generally, that's what it means. The most important person in such multiple name companies, his name comes first. So when we say Hare Krishna, Radharani's name comes first, because she's most important. Because without her mercy, we cannot approach Krishna. Any other questions?
But what we devotees do if there would be a third world war, or don't we even think about it?
Well, Third World War means death, means destruction. Well, whether or not there's Third World War, there will be death and destruction. So, what we are doing in Krishna consciousness allows us to transcend death and destruction. This body is going to be destroyed. This body will die, either by World War III or by something else, by slipping on a banana peel. That's for sure. That's for sure. This is the end of the body. So we practice Krishna consciousness, we chant Hare Krishna, and we prepare ourselves for death and destruction, however it comes. So it's not that we don't care, but however it comes, it's the same thing. You know, World War III, or banana peel, or cross the street, get hit by a car, or die of old age, you know, in one's bed. It's the same end to the body. So Krishna consciousness allows the soul to transcend this, so that the consciousness expands beyond destruction and death of the body and attains shelter at Krishna's lotus feet. So we're preparing. We should be prepared. It may come very soon.
It is said that the best way to control the mind is to think about Krishna. But since one has not so many realizations about Krishna, and if he thinks about spiritual master or other pure devotees, is it also a good way to control the mind?
Yeah, if we think of the spiritual master, as Srila Prabhupada said we should think, Srila Prabhupada calls the spiritual master the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead. So, spiritual master is also a form of Krishna. Guru Rupa Krishna Kripa. Chaitanya Charitamrita says the form of Guru is Krishna's mercy. So by the mercy of Guru, we know how to serve Krishna. We learn this. So that in that way, we should be thinking of our spiritual master as the foremost servant of Krishna. Who is, in that way, I was mentioning Srimati Radharani. So in that way, the spiritual master is seen as a representative of Srimati Radharani, and also as Lord Nityananda. So then, for our ability to perceive, the spiritual master is setting the example. He's showing us the way how to render service to Krishna. So we should always think of him. And by thinking of him, become enlivened in serving Krishna. So through the spiritual master, we become capable of always thinking of Krishna. But you should know it, that there's an Upasampradaya. Upasampradaya means a deviated sect that apparently is Vaishnava, is coming in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but actually is not. And this Upasampradaya is called the Karta Bhaja. So Karta Bhaja, as you know, means worship. Karta is means the boss. They see the Guru as the boss. You know, like a mafia. Hare Krishna. Like a mafia gang will have their boss, their godfather. And whatever he says goes. He says go out and kill people, then you do it. You see? So in this way they accept Guru. They say Guru is Krishna. And whatever he says, that is Shastra. So if Guru says something which is not in the Shastra, which contradicts Shastra, doesn't matter, then throw the Shastra away. Because Guru is Krishna. Maybe God came 5,000 years ago and spoke the Bhagavad-gita, and it was for Arjuna 5,000 years ago. But now, it's 5,000 years later, and God has come again in the form of Guru, and He's speaking something. This is our Gita. And in this Karta Bhaja's Upasampradaya, they even have something they call Bhagavad-gita. They don't follow Bhagavad-gita, they have their own Bhagavad-gita. So, this is perverted, not to be accepted. If you don't visit a Karta Bhaja temple, but if you were to be so unfortunate, then you would not see any deity of Krishna on the altar. You would just see a big picture of some Sahaja Guru. Because he's God, so they just worship him. So, you cannot ultimately try to make some philosophy, well, I can't think about Krishna, but I can remember my Guru. Maybe that's our condition in life. We're just at that point when we can only remember Guru and not remember Krishna. All right, then try to serve the Guru, but with the view of getting the ability to remember Krishna. You read Bhaktivinoda Thakur's songs on this point, on the Guru, and you will see he's praying. What is that? Chaya Megadomi, Chaya Doshashori, Chaya Guna Deho Dashi, Chaya Satsanga Deho Mea He Amara, Bose Che Sangira Ashe. So Chaya Megadomi, you please, spiritual master, you rid me of these vegas, means the passions of this body, like the passion of the tongue, belly, genital, mind, anger, words. Please remove these passions from my person. Chaya dosha shodi, please remove my faults. Chaya guna dehodashi, and in me instill good qualities. Chaya satsanga, and teach me how to associate nicely with the devotees. So then in this way, I can have some position in devotional service. In this way, I can be fit to approach Lord Krishna. So we should be praying like this, to our spiritual master, that he will prepare us to meet Krishna. But we're concocting something else, that we don't have to be concerned with trying to remember Krishna or become prepared to associate with Krishna, serve him directly. And we just think, let's make my guru into Krishna. This is a perversion.
Alright, I had someone asking of Third World War.
Third World War, yes.
But I think the Third World War process is already in action between the demigods and the asuras. Because the devotees of the Lord are fighting secretly, transcendentally, with a materialistic class of men through the transcendental knowledge which Lord Chaitanya has given us. So already I think it is in action in this way. How do you go to that?
Why must I give a comment? You have announced your vision of things. It's nice. Yes, this is the ultimate battleground. The war between the devotees and demons. Yes, true. Apart from this, there's really no other war that we should be concerned with. So, Surashantika, this is the Surashan commentary. Very nice. Yes?
You were talking about this, the body is perishable and the soul is eternal. And there's one purport that Srila Prabhupada, in this 18th chapter, verse 20, which Srila Prabhupada is also speaking about this point. But at the very end, he mentions such impersonal knowledge is an aspect of self-realization. And I don't understand this.
Impersonal knowledge that the body is temporary and the soul is eternal. Yeah, that simply, in and of itself, is an impersonalism. Because it does not describe the activity, the function of that soul. It simply says the real self is beyond the body. So then you take away the body. If until that point we've understood person as being the body, and then you take away the body, and you don't provide a higher understanding of person, then what happened to the person? It's not there. It's an impersonal. So, you understand that?
But Prabhupada mentions that this is an aspect of self-realization.
Yes, it is an aspect of self-realization. Just like Sat Chit Ananda is the full understanding of the Absolute Truth. But if one only understands the Sat phase, that I am eternal, then that's partial. That's just one aspect. So this is the realization of the impersonal yogis, jnanis, so on.
Marcus has also a question. It's written that some religious people who are practicing tapasya, it looks like that they're really surrendered to God, but and their process seems to be very similar to Krishna consciousness.
Well, the whole question is, Hrishikena, Hrishikesha, Sevanam Bhakti Ruchite. Oh yeah, he has to go to the translation. Alright, run. So, Hrishikesha, Hrishikena, Sevanam Bhakti Ruchite. This is Bhakti. When we engage our senses in the service of Hrishikesh. Now this is a name of Krishna, which is a very nice definition of the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead is himself full of senses, and he is the Lord of senses. In other words, all senses are meant for serving his senses. This is Krishna. So if someone's senses are engaged in giving service and pleasure to Krishna's senses, then he is a bhakta. Now maybe he understands the Supreme Lord by a different name than Krishna. But that's alright, because God has unlimited names. But he must understand that God is himself full of senses and is the master of the senses. This is what you must look for. If he understands God to be senseless, and if he thinks these senses have no purpose other than material sense gratification, then this cannot be a bhakta. And there are many people who are supposedly religionists and are very austere and they strictly control the senses because they don't want to sin. But they don't know how to engage their senses positively in Krishna's or in God's service because they don't even know that God has senses. And you ask them, okay, you say you believe in God. Well, who is that God? What does he look like? What does he do? And they have no answer and they may even get angry that you say such things. God has no form. Don't give him a form. There are many religions. They defend this principle very, very vehemently that you cannot describe God in any way. So then they're not bhaktas. So we cannot accept them as Vaishnavas. But you see, among Vaishnavas, those who accept the form of the personality of Godhead and those who engage service, their senses in service to that form, then there are many camps of Vaishnavas. Some worship Krishna, but some worship Lord Ram, some worship Lord Vishnu, some worship Lord Nrsimhadev. There's so many different forms of Godhead are there. But that difference, Srila Prabhupada explained, it's just a difference of loving preference. Because they all know that this is the one Supreme Personality of God. But he assumes different forms for different leelas. And thus, different devotees become attracted to these different leelas and forms out of love. And they become devoted to that particular form. And then they may even argue between themselves in a joking way. Srila Prabhupada said in a sort of loving way. They'll argue between themselves that oh, your Lord Ram, he has only one wife, Sita, but my Krishna has 16,108 wives. Like that. So back and forth they may argue, describing the pastimes of their favorite form of the Lord. But it's not really an argument. Simply a nice way of glorifying the Lord in his different forms. So let's stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.